Hello everyone, welcome to JC eConnect. Subject Big Data Analytics, revision on Module 3. So in this series of lecture, we'll be discussing about the Module 3. This is the third lecture on Module 3, and today we'll be discussing the second chapter under Module 3, that is Data Warehousing. Data warehousing consists of 4 subtopics, that is the introduction part, design considerations. In the introduction, we'll be learning about we'll understand the concept of data warehouse and its role in the data analytics, and we'll be learning about the design considerations of data warehousing, wherein we'll select the design choices in developing a data warehouse. Then we'll be dealing up with the data warehouse development approaches to understand the different types of approaches of developing a data warehouse and their various advantages as well. And ultimately, at the end of this lecture, we'll be discussing the data warehousing architecture. In the end, we'll be discussing the few questions taken from the previous year V2 question papers, so that we can have a complete overview of the this chapter of data warehousing under Module 3. So starting off with what is data warehousing. As you can see here, it is an organized collection of integrated subject-oriented databases designed to support decision support functions. So data warehouse supports business reporting and data mining activities. Now by this I mean the data warehouse is organized at the right level of the granularity, you can say, to provide a clean enterprise-wide data. So creating a data warehouse for analysis and queries represents significant investment in time as well as and efforts. So data warehousing supports why data warehousing we require is because data warehouse supports business reporting and data mining activities, and it also enables a consolidated view of corporate data, all cleaned and organized. Fine. So to understand more on it, we'll see what are the different considerations of designing a data warehouse. So when it comes to designing a considerations for data warehouse, we have few some of the requirements for a good data warehouse. Now these requirements are: the data warehouse needs to be subject oriented, it should be integrated, it should be a time variant, that is it should have a time series. Data warehouse should be non-volatile, it should be summarized and not normalized. It should have a metadata. It should be near real time. If not real time, it should be at least a near real time and or right time. That is the active. So we'll discuss more about it in detail one by one. The subject oriented, by subject oriented I mean to be effective, a data warehouse should be designed around a subject domain, that is to help solve certain category of problem, a specific category of a problem. It should be subject oriented. Integrated, by integrated I mean the data warehouse should include the data from many functions. There should be sub-function. It should include data from many functions that can put light on particular subject area. Like we discussed, it should be subject oriented, so it should shed light on particular subject area so that the organization can get benefited from a comprehensive view of the subject area. Now it should be time variant. By time variant I mean the data in a data warehouse should grow at a daily or at least for a chosen intervals. So this allows the latest comparison over time. Whatever the data that we have at present can be compared by the past data, so that there can be difference spotted. So it should be time variant. Non-volatile, it is self-explanatory. The data should be persistent. That is, it should not be created on the fly from the operations database. Shouldn't be overview. Thus, making the data warehouse is consistently available for the analysis across the organization over time. Now it should be summarized. Of course, it needs to be summarized because the data warehouse contains rolled up data at the right level of queries and analysis. So this also helps reducing the number of variables or dimensions of the data to make it more meaningful for the decision makers or the management, whoever the person managing the data. Now, not normalized. By not normalized, it means the data warehouse often uses a star schema. Star schema is one of the architecture which is used for data warehousing, one of the predominant architecture used. That will discuss more about star schema in the coming topic in this lecture itself, under the various design and architectures of the data warehouse. So not normalized means the data warehouse often uses this star schema architecture, which is a rectangular central table surrounded by some other lookup tables. The single table view significantly enhances speed of the queries. Now metadata. Basically metadata is the data regarding the data. So if there is any data, so regarding that data, what is that data? The information which is provided regarding that data can be called as metadata. So in other words, every element in the data warehouse should be sufficiently well defined. So for every data, there will be a metadata which defines that particular data. Next is the real time or near real time or right time data design. So data warehouses should be updated in at least near real time in many high transaction volume industries. Now by high transaction volume industry, to give an example, it can be airlines. Airlines deal with very high amount of data and very high transaction volumes. By high transaction volumes, I mean the amount of data every second generated, right? So that can be one of the design considerations for data warehousing for near real time or right time or the active design considerations. Now moving on, we have the data warehousing development approaches. Now predominantly there are fundamentally two different approaches to develop a data warehouse, that is the top-down approach and the bottom-up approach. Now the top-down approach is to make a comprehensive data warehouse that covers all the reporting needs of the enterprise. Right, it covers all the reporting needs of the enterprise. It also, the top-down approach also provides consistency, but takes more time and resources. The top-down approach requires more time and resources. Whereas on the other hand, the bottom-up approach is to produce small data marts for the reporting needs of the different departments or functions, as and when it's needed. And the bottom-up approach also leads to healthy local ownership and maintainability of the data. The top-down approach also leads to healthy local ownership. By local ownership, I mean the ownership at the department level or the function level, rather than the organizational level or institutional level. Right. So bottom-up approach leads to healthy local ownership and maintainability of the data. So that's what about the top-down approach and the bottom-up approach of the data warehousing development. Now we'll understand the data warehousing architecture. What are the different architectures for the data warehouse? Now here you can see a diagram for data warehouse architecture. We have data sources, we have data transformation, data mart or data warehouse, and then accessing user and applications, which consist of again sub topics, subsystems you can say under this architecture, operations, then external sources, and so on. So we'll discuss this. What is this operations or external sources, or what is this extract data, load data, what is this regularized data ready for analysis, and what are these OLAP tools or dashboards. So the data warehouse has these 4 key elements. The first key element, that is this, the data warehouse data sources. The first key element is the data source that provides the raw data. This basically deals with the raw data. Now the second element is the process of the transforming that data to meet the decisions. Transforming that data which we have got from the source to meet the decision needs. So this basically plays roles of transforming it and taking the decisions. The third element, that is the data mart or the data warehouse, is the method of regularly and accurately loading of the data into the the data marts or the data warehouse. Now the fourth element, that is accessing users and application, or the fourth element is the data access and the analysis part, where the devices and applications uses the data which is available to them from the data warehouse to deliver insights and other benefits to the end users, right. So these are the 4, you can say, basic elements or stages for the data warehousing architecture. Now to understand more in depth, because architecture is one of the important topic when it comes to this module, the data warehousing architecture, so we'll discuss more about these elements, data sources and so on in the next slide. So coming up with this first element, that is the data sources. The data sources deal with again a more sub topics, you can say. The data sources can be an operations data. It can be either an operations data or a specialized application or a external syndicated data. Now by this I mean the operational data. Let's say operational data, this includes data from all business applications, all operating business applications, including from ERP system, that is enterprise resource planning systems, that form the backbone of an organization or an IT systems. Now specialized application, by that I mean it includes the applications such as point of sale, we also call it POS, point of sale terminals, and e-commerce application that also provide customer facing data dealing with the specialized relevant applications. Now the external syndicated data, by this I mean it includes the publicly available, that is the externally publicly available data such as the weather forecasting data, or economic activity data, that is the GDP, and it can also be added, these data can also be added to the data warehousing as needed to provide a good contextual information to decision makers or the end users. Now the second aspect of the structure, that is, let's go back, the second key element of the data warehousing architecture is the data loading process. Now the loading process, the heart of the useful data warehouse is the process that populates the data warehouse with, when it comes to populating, that means the good quality of data, not just populating with any data, the good quality of the data. And this is also called the ETL cycle, or extract transform cycle. So this is the 3-stage cycle, wherein the first stage is the extract, wherein the data should be extracted from the operations or the transactions database sources, as well as from the other applications on a regular basis. And the second stage, that is the transforming. The extracted data, which is the data that we have extracted from the first stage, this extracted data should be transformed. By transform I mean it should be aligned together. The data extracted should be aligned together by key fields and integrated by the key fields and then integrated into a single data set. Now once the data is integrated, the next stage is the loading of the data. The transformed, whatever the transformed data we have, it is loaded, it should be then loaded into the data warehouse. Now this completes the ETL cycle, that is the extract, transform, load cycle. Now this ETL process should be run at a regular frequency. The more the number of times the ETL cycle is processed or run, the better result that we have. Now moving on to the third element of the data warehousing architecture, the data warehouse design. Now predominantly, like I mentioned minutes ago, data warehousing design, star schema architecture is one of the predominant architectures which is preferred for data warehousing. The star schema is preferred data architecture for most of the data warehousing, because there is a central fact table and that provides most of the information of interest. There are lookup tables that provides detailed values for codes used in the central table here. For example, let's say just to give an analogy, the central table here may use digits or the values to represent a sales problem. So you can see here item ID, salesperson ID, region ID, then period ID, then total sales and sales quota. So this is the central table which represents a salesperson's data. Now the lookup tables which are there outside here, the lookup tables will help provide the name for that salesperson's code. Right, here is an example. This figure is an example of star schema for a data mart for monitoring the sales performance. Now talking about the reason why star schema is more predominant, because the other schemas, for example, that includes a snowflake architecture. The difference between a star schema and a snowflake architecture is that the snowflake architecture, the lookup tables can have their own further lookup tables. That is the only difference when it compares to star schema and the snowflake architecture. So moving on with the fourth element of the data warehousing architecture, that is the data access part. If you go back to the architecture design, let me pull down the slides. Here you can see the 4 elements that we discussed. So discussing about the fourth part, that is accessing user and application, how data warehouse can access the data. So we have 4 management tools, you can say, or systems, you can say, by which we can access the data. We have OLAP systems, we have dashboarding systems, ad hoc queries, and ultimately mining. Now OLAP stands for online analytical processing. But before that, when we access the data from the data warehouse can be accessed for many purposes. There can be many different reasons why to access the data. The purpose is by many different users at any level in the organization. So the data warehouse can be accessed for many purposes by many users through different devices and systems. The primary use of a data warehouse is to produce routine management and monitoring reports. Routine management and monitoring reports. So these systems, OLAP, dashboarding system, ad hoc queries and mining, these systems will be helpful for data warehouse access. Now how OLAP system can be useful is, OLAP can, which stands for Online Analytical Processing System, are query and reporting tools. OLAP systems are the query and reporting tools that help to slice the dimensional data in a data warehouse. It helps to slice the multi-dimensional data. What are all the multi-dimensional data that we have? The OLAP helps us to slice down those multi-dimensional data in a data warehouse and produce desired reports as and when it is needed by the end users. For example, let's say the sales performance report itself, it would show sales by many dimensions compared with the plan, or one can request a list of all the products sold in a particular region in a certain price range during a certain time period and have them displayed on a report format. This is just an example with respect to the same salespersons. Moving on, the dashboarding system. The dashboarding system, as we have discussed in the previous lectures also, how dashboarding systems helps represent the data present in a desired format. Likewise, data warehousing system can also be useful for the data access. The dashboarding systems uses the data from the warehouse, of course, and present analysis to the users. Right. So the data from the data warehouse can be used to populate the customized performance dashboards for executives or end users. Now talking about the ad hoc queries, the data from a data warehouse can be used for ad hoc queries and any other applications for the matter, so that it makes use of the internal data. The data warehousing data from the data warehousing can be used for ad hoc queries and let's say any other application for that matter that make use of the internal data. The mining data from a data warehouse is used to provide data for mining purposes. The parts of the data would be extracted and then combined or integrated with other relevant information or data for the data mining. Now these were the 4 key elements when it compares to the data warehouse architecture. So as you can see, the data warehouse architecture is very much important from the understanding point of view as well as from the exam point of view to understand the data warehouse as a whole. Now just to discuss few best practices of the data warehouses, there are these 3 listed best practices, that is the data warehouse project should be aligned with the corporate strategy. The top management should be consultant for the setting objectives, or financial viability should be established aligning with the corporate strategy. Then it is very important to manage user expectations. The data warehouse should be built incrementally. Users should be trained in using the system so they can absorb many features of the systems, and ultimately the quality and adaptability should be built in from the start. The quality and the adaptability should be built in from the start. Only the relevant or the cleansed and high quality data should be loaded. The system should be able to adapt to new tools as and when they change for the access of the data. There shouldn't be gap when it comes to the data adaptability and data accessibility. and as the business needs change, the new data warehouses or data marts may needs to be created for the new needs or the new requirements, right? So that's all about the data warehousing. Now let us take a important aspect, that is the questions that were asked in the previous year question paper of V2. You can see here this is the December 2019 and December 2019 and Jan 20 question paper. So moving on to the module 3, here, let me zoom it in. Yeah, so here you can see module 3, there's a question being asked 5B, with a neat block diagram explain data warehouse architecture. So you can see here this data warehouse architecture which has been asked for 6 marks. So depending on the number of marks allotted, you may short down your content or expand your content, present more valuable information for the asked topic, the topic which is asked. So here you need to draw a block diagram for the data warehousing architecture and also explain the data warehouse architecture. So maybe 2 or 3 marks for the block diagram or 4 or 3 marks for the data warehouse architecture. So if that is the case, then this is the diagram that you have to draw, this one, data warehousing architecture. This is the diagram that you have to draw and explain these key elements like we have explained here in the these slides. Okay, so let me go back to the question paper. Yeah, this is the question paper which is asked for the this is the question paper for December 2019 and Jan 20, latest one. Let us take another example, another question paper. This is from the June-July 2019. June-July 2019, and let me zoom in so that the question is clear to you. 5th question, module 3. And here we can see one question being asked, again 5B. Explain the star schema like we discussed just now. Star schema design for data warehousing using with an example. You can see here it has been asked with an example. So you are supposed to explain the star schema architecture design for the data warehousing with an example, and this has been asked for 6 marks. The 2 marks is the below question, that is what is confusion matrix, which we'll be learning about in subsequent lectures. But right now, with respect to this lecture, this is the question that you have to focus. 5B. Explain the star schema design for data warehousing using a example. Right. So let me go back to the slide that I'm mentioning. So this has been asked for 6 marks. Keep this in mind. So if this is asked, then the star schema architecture is this diagram you can draw for the star schema architecture. You can see here a star schema architecture diagram, and this is the example of the salesperson itself. So I have taken the example which have been asked in the previous year question paper. So this is the diagram that you have to draw, right? So that's all. Let's say any more questions if it has been asked in the previous question paper and not in this. And here also no questions in OR. Let me zoom in. This is the data warehousing and difference, data mining and data warehousing, which we'll be learning when we'll discuss data mining and data visualization. So that's all. So from this lecture, this is the question that we need to focus, and we have already discussed a few questions. That is 5A, we have already discussed. Write any 4 business intelligence applications for various sectors. So we have discussed around 10 sectors there. So this, which have been asked for 8 marks here, you can see. So you can see here the lectures, whatever we are discussing here, are very important from the examination point of view, and these are the questions that you have to focus. So having said that, let us conclude the lecture and moving on for the conclusion. All we can conclude after this lecture for the data warehousing is we can say that the data warehouses are special data management facilities uh, intended for creating reports and analysis to support managerial decisions or to support decision making, right? So they are also designed to make reportings and queryings very simple and efficient. So the data warehousing are basically designed, the main motive here is to make reportings and queryings simple and efficient. Also the sources of data are operational systems and external data sources, right? Data warehouse, also the data warehouse needs to be updated with new data, right? The data warehouse needs to be updated as in when it is required with the new data regularly to keep it useful, so that the data which is we are storing in the data warehouse are continuously under use. And the data from a data warehouse provides a useful input for data mining activities, right? The data from the data warehouse provides a useful input for the data mining activities, because the more the data mining activities are taking place, the more insights we are getting from the data. So it provides a useful inputs for the data mining, right? So that's all for the today's lecture. That concludes our chapter 2 for the module 3. And if you have any queries with respect to this lecture, you can comment down, or you can reach out to our WhatsApp group, subject group. And if you have any queries, just let me know, so that if anyone if he has the same query, even they can get their doubts clarified. Okay, so that's all for today's lecture. Stay tuned for the subsequent lectures. Thank you.